Hello, everyone. Tashina Gonzalez here. And today I'm here to share with you briefly for all of us that are attempting to be network marketing professionals and on time management routine and just a snippet on something that we need to keep in mind when it comes to IPAs. So, for those that don't know me, I am Tashina Gonzalez. I have been with Young Living for 5 years, and I have always had a very, very busy life. One of the first things that people always say to me when they have a chance to have a one-on-one conversation, when they have conversations with me, maybe, and they hear everything that I do or they watch me on social media, one of the first things they ask me always is, do you sleep? And then the second thing they usually ask me is, how do you get so much done? So when we are not in lockdown, because we are talking about this in April of 2020, I usually work about 45 hours in a day job as an automotive professional for one of the big three companies here in the state of Michigan where I reside. I then do 20 hours of Bible preaching, which is usually in person at individuals' homes. So usually I'm driving somewhere around Oakland County for 3 to 4 hours to deliver Bible literature and or visit with individuals. And on the weekends, I can travel even to other counties that can be as much as 45 minutes away to do that volunteer work. And then with the time I have left is what I usually use to work my Young Living business. I'm almost always have worked two jobs most of my adult life of some sort, whether that's a volunteer one and my main job. And so time management and getting a lot done in a little bit of time has always been one of my strong points. So what's the first thing you need to do? The first thing you need to do is start. Sometimes it isn't that we don't have enough time, but we continue to procrastinate because we don't think we have enough information. So the first step, we have to make sure that we let go of expectations. It is not about perfection. It is about progress. So make a goal and start. As the saying goes, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with your first step. The other thing is, remember that the world is run by those who show up. So make a plan to be consistent. One of the most wonderful quotes that I heard early on in the business, and I'm not sure who originally said it, but I heard it said by Adam Green on stage, was you need to work your business part-time, not sometimes. You have to show up consistently in your business. So what does that mean? What happens is we usually have an employee mindset. And because we have an employee mindset, we are used to being told what time to start work, what time to end work, and when we're supposed to be where when it comes to meetings. When you change to be a home-based business owner, those controls are no longer in place. And so you have to set your schedule. So make sure that you are setting a consistent schedule on a regular basis. So if you are a busy professional like I am, your schedule may be I work on some task related things 1 hour every evening, and then I decide in advance which 1 or 2 days I'm going to do some classes. So I allocate those 2 hours out, and then maybe I have a half a day where I can do some networking or do some other individual things. And so I'm going to allocate 15 hours for my business every single week. And then I sit down and I set that schedule. Now, of course, there are going to be times where you have family matters that take over, and maybe you do need to take a break for 1 or 2 months. But even then, can you still just at least show up to your team meetings a couple times a week? Maybe you drop down from 15 hours a week just to 2 so that you're still showing up on a regular basis until you can regather and regroup and get back to where you need to be. because obviously life is going to hit us sometimes. I know that has happened to me at least once a year, every year that I have been working this business. So, again, with that, we show up and we do that consistently. As the quote by Aristotle here shows, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So we need to develop good habits, and we need to do the right things in addition to just showing up, but do the right actions on a regular basis, on a consistent basis. Consistency is a key. Now, here are a few more tips. A couple of these I'm going to deep dive into. For time management, audit your time first. Every single presentation and book that I've read about time management once starts with the step of making sure that we are conscious as to where our time is going, especially in times right now, right? When we are sitting and we're locked down in the house, and at the end of the day, we're thinking, man, I should have got a lot more done. Audit your time. Where is your time going? Of course, we're going to be spending a little bit more leisure time. Maybe we're catching up on some Netflix. But have we set our schedule to do the high priority things first and then allocating only a certain amount of time for recreation? Or is recreation eating more of our time up than we actually thought? So take a week and write down exactly what you're doing. Take your journal and audit your time so you can make sure that you are allocating your time in the best way. Delegate or outsource. So if you have children, are there some tasks that you don't like to do for your business that you can actually delegate or outsource to your children? Maybe there's some team members that have some strengths that you don't have that you can delegate some certain things to. And if you're a silver or above and you are generating an income that covers your oils and then some, maybe you can outsource some tasks. I know that's something that I did. I currently am in a condominium. Previously, when I was in a house, I would outsource my yard work because I was never home. I told you guys how busy I was. So I would outsource my yard work. I also technically outsource some of my cooking. I actually have a lot of things that I get delivered to my house. I'll get Home Chef and maybe a couple other meals, or maybe I'll get once a week some of my groceries, my fresh groceries delivered. So I outsource some of those tasks because that's an hour not running around the store, or that's 30 minutes that I don't have to decide and prep and cut certain things for a meal or shopping that I could then use to some of my other priorities. Minimize distractions. So when you sit down for your work time, make sure that everything is clear, that your calendar is marked off, and that you're going to minimize all the distractions. Now, I know right now, again, we're talking about this in April 2020. This is a little bit more difficult because we got all the family home in some cases for certain people. But try to minimize distractions as much as possible. Leave a buffer. So this is for people who tend to show up places late. And so this is a tip for time management to ensure that you can break that habit. Now, I am one person that usually shows up right on time and occasionally late. And one of the reasons why is because many times I would forget to leave a buffer. So this is something that I work on constantly, right? I'm an internal optimist and I try to get so much done and fill all of the time, right? So then I don't leave a buffer when I'm going from point A. We talked about how busy usually I am. So I don't have enough of a buffer when I go from day job to volunteer job and then to work my business, because I just am an internal optimist. I assume everything's going to be great. Everything's going to be where I need it to be. And then I don't plan for the traffic jam that causes me a 15-minute delay. So by leaving a buffer, I can make sure that it's visible to other people that I respect their time and that I manage my time well by always showing up early rather than right on time or late. Never waste time waiting. Now, this is something that I do excellent at. So if you are traveling somewhere and you're not the person driving, or you're standing in line at the bank, or in any other situation, one of the things that you can do is shoot off a couple text messages to say hi to people. You could start planning your next social media post. So while you're waiting, try to find something productive, something task oriented that you could do to support your business. Do less. So get rid of unnecessary tasks. While you're auditing your time, try to see if you can also audit the effectiveness of certain things that you're doing and get rid of the tasks that are unnecessary. Plan ahead and prioritize. And these I'll have a couple slides on these, and these are some concepts. With the plan ahead goes with eat the frog, which actually John Acuff mentioned in this week's training, and put the big rocks first. So I'm going to deep dive into those. So this is a concept of eat the frog. Mark Twain, quote, "If it's your job to eat a frog, it's best to do it first thing in the morning. And if it's your job to eat 2 frogs, it's best to eat the biggest one first." So, setting the table, making sure you get things ready, making sure you have a priority list of things that you need to do, and making sure that you put the most difficult, hardest things first. And that makes your day go smoother, you feel accomplished, and you get a lot more done because as you go throughout your day, you're now tackling easier and quicker tasks. And the big rocks first. So this is an illustration you've probably heard many times before. A lot of times they will mention this. I know I've heard it in a spiritual setting about making sure you put God and family first. So as you can see from these illustrations here, if we look to the right, and I've seen somebody do this in person, if you just willy-nilly put everything that you have, sand, small rocks, big rocks, into a jar, not all of it is going to fit. But if you put the big rocks first, which then has a little bit of space and a little bit air through it, then you put the small rocks, then you put the sand, everything fits perfectly. So make sure when you're prioritizing what you do, as we can see on the picture in the left, we're not leaving out things like religion or if that's on our priority list and important to us. We're putting all those big rocks in first, and then those little rocks will fit in, like time for recreation and shopping and things of that nature. So routine. You want to create strong habits. Now, what is a habit? A habit is something that you do automatically without thinking. The more strong habits that we have, the easier our jobs and working our businesses become. So I gave 2 references that I adore when it comes to creating strong habits. So for the concept of the how and why, The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg. And then another book that I love, Better Than Before, What I Learned About Making and Breaking Habits by Gretchen Rubin, which is tied to the 4 tendencies framework. So this helps you know yourself and create strategies accordingly. So some of the strategies mentioned in the book is distinctions, knowing what works for other people might not work for you. Monitoring. Monitoring is something like having a Fitbit to count your steps. That is something that will help you create a habit. Scheduling. But keep in mind, this is counterproductive for one of the tendencies she mentions as rebel, but putting things on your schedule. I know this works fabulous for me. If I put it on the schedule, it will get done. Accountability. So having an accountability partner or a mentor or someone you can check in. And for the tendency that she refers to as obliger, this is one of their best strategies. Strategy of convenience. So I've heard this in books before. So one of the things you can do is make it easy to inconvenient to do certain things. For example, if you want to create the habit of exercising, you sleep in your comfortable yoga pants and a t-shirt, and so then you wake up and you just start exercising, or you leave your exercise gear on your passenger seat where you're going to see it, so that when you leave work you know you're going to go right there. Or you set your vitamins out in the morning and have it right next to your computer, so when you start working, if you're working at home, you're not going to forget them. Or you put them in a little baggie and take them to work. So you make it convenient so you don't later have to grab it. Pairing is making sure if you already have a strong habit, like drinking water, you add something to that, like maybe you keep forgetting to use your essential oils. And so you add the oils to the water because you know that you're going to drink your water on a daily basis. So you pair it to a habit that you already had. Clarity, making sure that you're clear on what you need and that it resonates with you. Identity, making sure that your goals and habits identify with your core values and who you want to be. And the strategy of other people, doing it for the kids, for someone else. A lot of times you can create a habit by thinking of the other person. Now, this is a super important slide when we're talking about being network marketing professionals. This is something that gets lost or is very different and something we're not even aware of when we come from the employee mindset. One of the greatest, best things about network marketing is that you are able to leverage, which it gives you more time when you are leveraging. So we have this quote by Archimedes: "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the entire earth." So we're going to use a system. A system has lots of different pieces towards it that are consistent that we can plug people into, where they can get education, they can get information, and it is a form for us to leverage. We create tools. So this Facebook group that I am currently giving this presentation in is a tool. When we create a video that we can then download and share to someone else, it's a tool. When we hand someone a book, it's a tool. Why is it a tool? Because we can we can tag someone, and that person, we didn't have to spend 30 minutes doing that video that we tagged them. Or we can tag them on a post in the Facebook group, and we personally didn't have to do it, but we use it as a tool to help them. Infinite networks, continue to create more and more networks. Networking, so leveraging the skills of other people. Team, leveraging individuals in our team and their assets and skills. And mentor, leveraging the information that a mentor can give us so that we don't have to learn things the hard way. So think, if you feel like you don't have enough time right now, are you leveraging all of these pieces that you should be when it comes to network marketing? The more that you leverage, that you push down on this lever using tools, teaching with tools, making sure that you're working and using your network, using your team, going to your mentor for information, using a system, plugging people into a system. The more that you use this, the more leverage you will have, and you'll be able to free up some of your time. And in this instance, because we're talking about a business, you'll be able to reach the $1 million dream. And then here we have a quote from Randy Gage: "Success without duplication is merely future failure in disguise." So to really make sure that you have clear time management and that your team can grow, you want to make sure that through all of those that we talked about, our system, our tools, what we're doing to leverage, that is being done beneath us with the rest of our team, and we get duplication. Because if we don't, eventually that time management that we had is going to disappear. That leverage won't be there and as strong as we need to, because they're not mirroring teaching with tools, coming to the mentor, using a system. Now, just a very quick, so there are so many charts and graphs and information you can find on income producing activities. So that's not actually what I'm going to go into detail in this presentation, but I want to point out, when it came to time management, a super important thing. So this is just a snippet of one of those mini sheets that you can get. So when it comes to income producing activities, you need to remember that you will be most effective in your business when you spend 80% of your time enrolling and prospecting. So some of those things that follow underneath that category are a new contact made, follow up with contact, prospect joins one of the Zoom calls that we are having on a regular basis. You give a one-on-one presentation to a prospect. You give a phone presentation to a prospect. A prospect comes and views your website. You send out an information package. You have a class or home party, or you bring someone else to a class or home party when we're able to do them in person again. So if you feel like, I'm so busy, I'm doing so much stuff, my team is not growing, I don't know what's going on, make sure that you're allocating your time to the right things. So again, are you spending 80% of your business time doing these activities? And then only 20% of your time should be done in training and personal development. So the top list is still what we consider the prospecting. So doing 3-1, we still have under prospecting a business presentation supporting your team, one-on-one coaching, 3-way call supporting your team, group training, and individual training. But then under training and personal development, we're going to have using 30 minutes per day to read a book or view a some type of seminar or training. We're going to have making sure that we get with our business partners and doing any type of training for our team. So that's going to include which relationships are king. Relationships are super important. They're the most important thing. And we need to continually build that relationship. But those types of discussions and sending out care packages to our team are still going to fall in this 20%. So that is the information that I want to share with you guys, because I am sharing a presentation. I'm not sure if there were any comments, but I will stick around and see if there were, as well as make sure that I save this presentation. I thank you guys for joining me today. Have an amazing afternoon.